I did it again. Way too close. Hey, everybody. It is Carrie Platypusy Anthony. You're watching Boob Tube. And of course, it's not Boob Tube without my lovely co host, Casey Carter and Desirable Bottom. Hey, ladies.
Hey.
Hey, girl, hey.
Hey, girl. Hey.
What
Yeah,
up?
see? How you
What's
doing?
happening?
Doing
How is
good.
everybody?
Doing good.
We made it.
We made it.
We
Look,
made
Casey's like,
it.
barely.
Listen, I at this point, and I have to be honest, I love our little green room chats because if y'all could hear some of what we say before we come on, you'd be like, I'm surprised y'all are all bubbly when when you show up. Cause and I think honestly, being able to dump it in the green room and then show up
Mhm.
good, I think that's probably been our saving grace in some cases. At least I know for me. Speaking for myself, I think it's I like being able
I
to
agree.
do
I
that.
agree.
Hmm.
Cheers to that. Cheers. Cheers.
Cheers,
Cheers. Everybody get your
cheers.
cups up. Yes. Cheers.
Cheers.
Bottoms up, bottoms up.
Yep.
Whatever you may be drinking. A toast. Here's a toast to green room shenanigans.
Yeah. It's funny because I earlier when I did Casey at night, I was having green room conversation and it was good. It was really good. And halfway through it, I'm like, damn it, I should have recorded that conversation. Because we were
Mhm.
talking about Diddy, and I was like, oh, that would have been good to record because the things that were
Yeah.
said, I'm like, it's not going to get repeated the same way. Not going to be
No.
said the same way. So one of these days, we got to think about recording our green room conversation just to see if maybe, it's worth anything.
Or like behind the scenes things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, it's called a green room for a reason.
Facts.
Some of the things that we share there are not for public consumption.
No, no. Well,
Right.
that's
Right.
why I
Right.
say, we'll have to consider.
Right. And be on our P's and Q's
Wait, hold on a second.
and
Mhm.
elemental P's.
Hold on one second. Hold on one second. Hold up. Wait a minute. I got to get this on the screen. We now owe Christopher some merch. My name is
Did
finally right.
he got your name right. Hey!
All right. All right, Jay. If you
It's
watch the
Casey
replay
all
or if you
day.
jump on the show, we owe Christopher some merch. Because we said if he could finally get my name right, we'd hook him up. So we gonna need something. We gonna need something. Thank you, Christopher. I appreciate that.
Good job, Christopher. Yes. Even though I really liked Casey all day.
All Casey all
Casey, yeah,
night. Oh,
all
listen,
night.
honey.
Yeah.
Only
Yeah.
reason why I
Oh,
popped that
Casey
joint
all
on the
night. All
screen.
day, all night.
Right. I popped it on the screen because I'm like, it ain't right, but I love it.
Right.
Facts.
You're like, damn, I should have thought of that.
Hello.
It's Casey all night.
All night.
I can tell you how I
Hey.
feel about you night and day. Okay, yeah. Um, it is Kari Oki.
Love it.
I like that.
So, don't
I
you love
like
it?
that.
Mm-hmm.
Like that a lot.
Yeah. So let's get started. Let's. So one of the things that we did talk about in the green room, Casey and I, she said, I finally caught up with BMF. And I said, yeah, me too. However, I don't remember what happened. And what did you say, Casey?
Um, that is quite indicative of how I feel about this season. Basically, I don't remember what happened.
I mean, the only part that I can think of offhand. Oh wait. There was a very there. Okay, there was a lot of things that happened. That's what it was. It was emotional overload. So one, the cop, I forget his name, his son took his life.
Hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. And you can
which
see
is
that
very
coming though.
sad. That
You can see that coming.
That was
well, he
messed
was
up.
just about to when the house got shot up and then the partner got shot. Um, he was there to bargain with them, like, hey, whatever you want, I'll do it as long as you can get protection or get my son out.
Right.
Hmm.
So that was a very sad scene. Also, the scene where Terry goes down to Atlanta and they're pew 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 at the neighborhood,
Mm. Yeah, the little ghetto neighborhood.
and then the ah girl, yeah, and then the other significant scene that I can remember is when the lady tells the mom that she saw him out at breakfast
The
and he's like, no,
husband.
I was recording a song for you.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, like you've got all the excuses, like I've heard it all, and only to find out that it was true. So now they're back
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
hunching.
but wait, but you saw she had the doctor's card in her hand, and when husband
Yes.
slid up in the bed, she slid the card back up under her pillow. So she's back about
Ooh.
90% of the way. She
Okay.
she want well see what here's what it was. It was a romantic gesture, but she already wanted that D. She needed some vitamin D. And because of her Christian beliefs, this made it easier for her to go back for that vitamin D.
I mean, I understand she's been with the man for how many years, so I understand like that's not just something that you walk away from, but at the same time, I think the excitement and mystery with this other person that she already has a little bit of a history with
Right.
also
Right.
is enticing. So,
It is.
and
I
he's
mean,
already fucked up.
but here's the thing. I mean,
Hmm.
because like the stuff we just talked about was from the most recent sorry, episode. But in previous episodes, that relationship with the doctor who's her friend from high school, you see the husband catch a glimpse of the business card, I think it was, um, and
It was a
all of
check. He wrote a check
the
to the
check. It
church.
was the check. Thank you. It was the check. And all of a
Hmm.
sudden, dude stepped up his game. I mean, granted, he was trying to get back on her good side anyway, but he saw that check and tried to step up his game even more. You know, he started working out and he made sure that she bumped into him in all stages of undress. And like I said, she needed some vitamin D. And, you know,
Slipped up and jumped on top of it.
yeah, that part right there. That part
So
right there.
I have a little premonition. So Meech is now messing with the dancer, who was
Okay.
messing with I don't know the name of his character, but Neo,
Mm-hmm.
the club owner,
Mm-hmm.
Oh
and
yes. Yes.
it it hasn't really okay. So they end up hunching at the club, which I thought was really stupid,
Mm.
but I think that is the buildup for a situation that is going to explode.
Yeah.
Because he just
I,
doesn't strike me as the kind of guy that's just going to be like, I don't care, because she's one of his top earners. So,
yeah, I mean, because also remember too, he caught a wicked beat down, and that's not gonna sit well with him either. And I have to be honest, I've been a little suspect for a minute. Like I'm not saying that she's not attracted to him, but there's that part of me based on her story in one of the earlier episodes talking about how he took care of her when she came into the city, he's protected her, He's given her all of this and da 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 da. And if you pay attention to Neo's character, he can smell money. Like he said, money. Dudes walk into the club and he can identify who's got money. And I genuinely feel like they may be running game, not
True.
and not even because she necessarily wants to, but because her loyalty runs so deep that she hoes anyway. So fucking this dude, fucking that dude ain't no different.
Right. I think what's gonna happen is now she's in it because he has pushed her, not Meech, but the club owner has pushed her, like, get as much information, find out where he keeps the money. Like I feel like there's definitely some shadiness there, but I think what's gonna happen is because Meech treats her so differently,
Yeah.
that she's gonna actually fall in love with him, and by that time it'll be too late because you've are the fact that you were spending time with me off the break was, simply because of the shadiness, like, because Meech is a big person on loyalty. We see what happened with the kid in the first season. Remember the one that was messing with the girl, and then the girl got pregnant, and then he made him go. I don't remember her name. You remember which one I'm talking about? The one that was going back and telling Lamar.
Right.
I don't remember her name. I don't remember anybody's name.
I'm thinking like it's like Nod or something. KNOT or Cat, maybe Cat. I don't know, something. I know who you guys mean though. Yeah. I'm caught up. I'm on season 3 now, so I watched it all from season 1 all the way up. So yeah, I got all the infos.
Okay, all right.
It's pretty good.
Okay, you might even be up to date with us one day, where you're in the same season we are.
Eventually. But going back to what you said originally, Kari, about the I don't remember what happened thing. I'm not gonna say you and I, huge fans of the Power series. You made that comment during the green room about how we wasn't missing an episode. I said that if I had to watch it just before Boob Tube, just to make sure I could be in the conversation, I was gonna do that. And this season of BMF, it's dry as F. Okay, dry as fuck. It's not giving, and that's why when you said I don't remember, I'm like, that's how I feel about this season. It's just so dry. I feel like everything is forced, right? Like there are storylines that I go, okay, that's interesting, but then it doesn't really go anywhere. It just sort of fizzles, and I ain't gonna lie, I'm disappointed because everything that 50 has done up until this point has been on point. And I've even started telling myself that, even The Sopranos had some soft seasons, and maybe this is just a soft season.
Okay, so I saw something funny on TikTok. Somebody was talking about how, and in fact, I guess they were alluding to the fact that they were talking about BMF, where they were saying that this season is, what were they saying? Like 50 Cent needs to pay more attention to the BMF episodes than he does, worried about
Diddy,
his baby mama being on Diddy's payroll. And now that we're talking about it, yeah. And 50 Cent tweeted it. Like he tweeted about he's taking her to custody court, and he didn't know that she was a SW, a sex worker, and I'm just like,
okay, all right, dude. Whatever.
oh, so now all of a sudden I mean, I don't know. I guess for me, like, and I'm sure BMF was filmed long before this happened, but it's just funny that they're happening at like It's happening at the same time because we were talking about it in the green room. You were talking about the Diddy thing, and yeah, no
Listen,
diddly. That's the
I thought you were getting ready to talk about this tweet that 50 put out. It basically was a retweet of some comedian. I forget where the comedian was. He was in a huge theater that was clearly packed out, and I want to say he was talking about New York, and he made his comment was that he didn't appreciate the fact that somebody said that the problem with New York was the drug dealers and gangsters or hustlers or whatever, when in fact the problem with New York was Diddy and all his shenanigans, and he like ticked off all these things. I'm like, and I've been looking at some of the stuff that 50's been posting about Diddy. Honey, the post that 50 put out was like, y'all thought I was sending out shots? This dude put out some shots. Like, he full on roasted Diddy to a crisp. Some of the stuff he said, I was like, said publicly, and I make a point of saying that theater was huge and that it was packed because I was like, oh my god, dude didn't even say allegedly. He was just throwing it out there. I was like, whoo,
allegedly.
whoo. And this is a comedian I had never heard of, so I was like, oh, I got to look for more of his stuff because he was so spot on with the stuff he was saying, and I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be good." Seeing what happens with Diddy, and then with Jay-Z, it's gonna be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what's something else that you're watching, Miss Casey?
Okay, so Kari, you just went black. Hopefully, you're still around. But okay, here
I
I watched a couple of things, and high on my list, there you are. High on my list is something called Quiet on Set. And it's the behind the scenes of children's kids TV or whatever. And I've only seen
Nickelodeon.
I was only seeing one. Well, the way they identify it, they didn't say Nickelodeon because at first I didn't. It wasn't on my view list, right? And then my son calls me up and he made mention of it, and I was like, now I gotta go check it out. Now I gotta check this out. And so it's I guess I don't know if it's just 2 episodes or whatever, but I've only seen one so far. And that one episode, I I'm like, okay, we are tiptoeing around some things. Because I'm like, in light of Diddy, in light of R. Kelly and what he got called out on, and what Michael Jackson got taken to court over, y'all are saying some stuff about this dude Dan Schneider that all I did for the whole episode was go, okay, so when are y'all gonna say he was inappropriate with the children? Because y'all are saying stuff that makes it sound like he was inappropriate with the children. But here's the deal. So Quiet on the Set is a behind the scenes about Nickelodeon, and um, I didn't, as a child, grow up with Nickelodeon, but my ex husband had 2 girls, and I had a younger sister, and they watched Nickelodeon. So I remember a lot of the shows when Nickelodeon first came out, and then I remember the moment Nickelodeon went from being like here to skyrocketing in terms of programming. And as it turns out, this dude, Dan Schneider, who was a character on Head of the Class, which was the show Robin Givens was on. And, after he did Head of the Class, he ended up with a gig after trying some other stuff, but he ended up with a gig at Nickelodeon and ultimately parlayed his talents into creating some of their most iconic shows. That being Kenan and Kel, All That, Victorious, iCarly, Zoe 1-on-1, Drake and Josh, and the Amanda Show, as in Amanda Bynes. And
Okay.
that's the part of that first episode that had me going, huh? Because the Amanda Bynes was what's the term they use? They found her performing at a comedy show. There was a comedy spot that that allowed kids to perform, and on this one particular night, she was up there, and I don't know, she was like 10 or something like that. And the
10.
girl at the time,
Yeah, she was
who
10.
was Dan's favorite, she saw Amanda Bynes and was like, "Hey, you got to see this girl." And she was moments away from getting her own TV show in her name. They go, they see Amanda Bynes, they love Amanda Bynes, they immediately bring her in. And the next thing you know, she became the sweetheart. She became the darling and got all of Dan Schneider's attention. And so
Okay.
they say, and I want you all to watch it because it's really very fascinating. There's nobody who doesn't know Nickelodeon for all the various things, especially the slime and all of that. So
Right.
you really should
Right.
watch it, because seeing the creation of these shows and how dude, after creating one show, blew the fuck up. Like, it went crazy with the fact that when I saw all of these names with, that he was had some level of credit with, I'm like, I know all these shows, and I know all these shows are what ultimately took Nickelodeon to the next level. And the Amanda Bynes segment creeped me the fuck out. Creeped me out. Like, I was so distraught and distressed because I literally was waiting for them to say that he was inappropriate with her and that he had been inappropriate. They haven't said that yet, and I've only watched the first episode. But what they did say is that there were a lot of things done on the shows, on the various shows, that was very adult. That they showed an episode with I don't know if it was Ariana Grande, one of the little girls who ultimately, I think it was Ariana Grande. They showed her with a potato trying to squeeze juice out of the potato. I'm like, why is she literally trying to squeeze juice out of the potato? Then they showed another scene where she's laying on the bed with her head hanging over the back of the bed, and she douses herself with water. And I'm like, okay, that's a little something. There's another scene where I forget exactly what happened, but one character sneezed or whatever, and you see there's two characters in the scene. One character sneezes. Let's say it was a sneeze. When you see the other character, and it's a woman, the other person is a grown adult woman, her face is covered in what to me as an adult looks like cum.
Right. But it's
It-
supposed to be the sneeze?
Yes.
It's supposed to be, right.
So there was a lot
Wow.
of that. And it was
Inappropriate innuendos.
inappropriate.
Yeah, or
and,
like
and
sexualized. Yeah. There's a
very
lot
much
of that.
so.
True.
And there was something that they wanted, I think, Amanda Bynes to do, or one of the other girls, and they as a writing team literally had to say, okay, don't call it XYZ. Don't call it that. Don't say that's what that is. Because they all knew that what they were going to ask this girl to do was inappropriate. And under normal circumstances, would be referred to in some sexual manner, but they were like, don't nobody say it. And if anybody asks you, say, oh no, that's not what that is at all. So
Just
that
deny it.
that was an indicator they were doing these things intentionally. There was this young black boy who was playing a superhero character, and he talked about the fact that he was very uncomfortable in the tights because at the time he was going through puberty, and young boy in puberty, he ain't got no control over that thing. And so he was very uncomfortable in the tights. He felt like people were just staring at him. The costume, he was playing a superhero. I forget exactly what the character's name was, but they put a prosthetic nose on his face to make his nose longer. And that might have been the character that sneezed on this woman. But they put a prosthetic on his face. And then where his cape was attached to his costume were these things that were noses, but when you looked at them, they looked like penises with testicles.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
What?
And some of these kids talking as adults about their experience, they said some stuff that was very heartbreaking. Like they literally were saying that they were uncomfortable doing various things, but they knew if they complained that they could get, minimized on a show and ultimately written off of a show. That they would lose favor, and that would mean you didn't get lines, and that would mean you could ultimately get fired. And that extended not only to the kids and the parents who would never say anything because they also were like, I don't want to mess it up for my kids. So like parents would see things weren't right, but they didn't want to say anything to disrupt their child's opportunity. But that also extended to the writing staff because they hired they hired two women.
Are you okay?
Wait till I say this. They hired two women and told the two women, you have to share the salary of one writer.
What?
Yes. Told them
That's insane.
They had to share the salary of one writer. And then apparently the guilds found out that this was happening, or they found out that that's not allowed. The guilds found out, contacted them, and was like, I don't know which one of you ratted us out, but somebody's going down for this. Well, one of the two girls ended up getting fired, and then they told the one that was left that they were bringing in someone else, and again, she was going to have to take less money than the men who were writing. And he basically created an environment that ultimately pushed her out. She ultimately was like, I can't do it. I gotta go. Bye.
Wow.
I mean, oh my God. Like so many things happened in this first episode. And I know I've literally just went on and on and on. And I'm sorry about
That's
that.
Okay.
But
That's okay.
It was so good. So good. So good. Yeah.
Okay.
So before we go on to the next thing that we've watched, I did want to mention, I don't know if you guys have seen the previews for it, but we have a new movie coming out in the summer. Bad Boys 4.
Oh, I did see
Bad
that.
Boys. Okay.
I did see that. I did.
Bad Boys 4, June 6th. So we like to talk about what we have to look forward to. And in the wake of the Will Smith debacle, Bad Boys is an amazing franchise.
This has been filmed since then.
Yeah.
True.
Well, I mean, no matter how you feel about Will Smith as a person, the Bad Boys franchise, I mean, Bad Boys does not disappoint. 1, 2, and 3 for me, just their dynamic, Will Smith and Martin Lawrence together, is it's incomparable, It's one of those things that's like, for me, I look forward to the Bad Boys movies. So I saw that and was like, Smart move, Will.
actually was in the movie theater when I saw the preview and was like, "Oh, that's what we doing." Okay. And I got to be honest, I didn't like the last Bad Boy. Um,
The last Bad Boy was not my favorite. Oh, is this how they were supposed to be the whole time? Sorry. They keep falling out, and I'm like, why?
oh,
But it wasn't my favorite, but I still like, even though the movie itself was like, the storyline was a little, the dynamic that they have together
He's
is
epic.
just
Magic.
it
Yeah.
it it is a good,
mm-hmm.
it's a good filler, yeah. So it's like it doesn't really matter. They could talk. It's one of those things where they could probably do a scene like from Fast and the Furious where they have a DeLorean that goes to the moon or whatever, goes into space. But because it's Martin Lawrence and Will Smith and their dynamic is so hilarious that somehow, some way, that would probably turn out to be pretty freaking funny. You know
We'll
what I mean?
see. We'll
So
see. Because I'll
I
be
don't know.
honest,
I'm excited. We'll see.
I watched the preview, and my first thought was, why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? Because first and foremost, you already know Will Smith don't get out the bed for less than whatever. Um,
Right.
which is why he didn't do Independence Day, right? So I don't know what they paid him. At this point, he probably had to lower the bar after the incident, but I didn't find myself um, putting it on my list. And I don't really go to the movies that much anymore since COVID. But I didn't. I was like, I'll wait till streaming. I will.
I didn't say I was going to the theater to see it. I just was like, oh, you know.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
What I did like about it though is they changed the dynamic of the, or not so much that they changed the dynamic, but the storyline is the captain who we all love
mm-hmm.
and whatnot is being accused of being in cohorts or being in bed with the big time drug dealers, and then in
Okay.
turn now they're Mike and what's the other guy's name? What's Martin's name in the movie?
Hold
I don't
on.
remember.
Let us know in the comments. But anyways, I just know Mike Lowry.
Mm-hmm.
But they are now avoid, like they're running from the authorities because now they think that they're involved. I just lost a piece again somewhere around here. Oh. Remind me not to use these again. But now they're running from law enforcement because they think they are involved. And so I don't know. We'll see how that pans out.
mm-hmm. We'll see.
One of my favorite ones though, definitely one and two. Two because of Gabrielle Union. Love her.
Yeah.
Yeah, two
But
was
yeah.
good.
True.
That was
True.
before she got crazy over Dwayne Wade, and I could still tolerate her.
Oh yeah. Now
What you got on your list, Desiree?
Well, I watched
yeah, what you got going on
Catfish
over there?
Mm.
with Max
Ooh.
and Neve. Yeah. So in the latest episode, they had this
Max is
girl
back?
and she fell. Oh no, it's a girl. Sorry, she's there.
Cammy.
What's her name? There we go. Yeah.
Cammy.
So you're right. And so there was this girl. She fell hard for this guy. She was like even like sending him money and stuff. And there was all these lies. So she ended up calling them. Was like, come on, And they ended up finding out a lot of crap. So stuff went down. It wasn't like who they thought it was, and it was kind of insane. So
I, I,
That's
with the catfish stuff, you never know.
I was
People
gonna
can
say
always be like,
catfish has always fascinated me. I've never really watched a lot of it, but I was definitely fascinated by the show in general. And I will admit though that at some point I was like, okay, are we just fabricating some of these moments?
Some of them are. I think it's all like what is it? Like not skit, but like plotted too.
Scripted.
Like I think it's script. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, I still like the idea of it
Okay,
though.
so fun fact,
Have y'all ever
I
had
know two
a catfish
people.
moment?
Oh,
You've
I've been catfish for sure. But I used to be a catfisher too, but that's a story for another time.
Okay.
Um, it was just a short period of time. It wasn't like a long stint, but I actually used to live. If I think it's, I'm not sure the season. I think it's like season 8, episode no something, season something, episode 8. Anyway, I'll go find out for sure. But one of
Okay.
my old roommates from here that I used to live with, she goes by Mother Wolf. If you look up that particular episode, it'll tell you which one it is. She goes by Mother
Okay.
Wolf. She was on there. And I've actually been trying to get her to come onto my podcast to talk about it. She says there's a lot that she
Nice.
can't reveal because they do sign an NDA.
Mm-hmm.
And but there are some things she did allude to the fact that some of it is uh fluff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So she couldn't say it, but I mean, she didn't say that they didn't either. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Can't
Mm-hmm.
confirm nor deny. But yeah, catfish. I love catfish.
Mm-hmm.
Me
Um,
too.
I don't care whether they fluff it or
Twinsies.
not. Some of those people, you can tell they definitely they're doing it for clout.
Yep. Yeah. Yep. It works for everybody. Works for.
There was like there was another MFC model on there too a while back, like a long time ago.
Really
Fun fact. Fun fact.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
interesting.
Hmm.
For those of you who don't know, MFC is my free
Hmm.
cam.
I'll tell you guys in the green room.
Love that green room. Okay, so
Thanks for watching.
We'll be back after this short break. Um, so
Right, right.
so I mentioned I had gone to the movies, and I haven't been to the movie. No, that's a lie. I was gonna say I haven't been to the movies in a while, but that's a lie. I was talking to Lorenzo about that because it was like, oh, I had recently went to see Aquaman with my mom. I don't know what I'm talking about. But first
Okay.
of all, I want to acknowledge
Right.
that Electric 420 Gaming
Funny game.
gave us Marcus Burnett. Thank you very much. Appreciate the lookup for that. For
Mm-hmm.
Martin Lawrence's character on Bad Boys. But I wanted to go to the movies over the weekend, and at first I'm like, ooh, let's go see Ghostbusters. Let's see Ghostbusters. So
I
Lorenzo
wanted to go
started,
see it too.
well, he started calling off the things that were out in theater as of Friday, and one of the things
Okay.
that he mentioned was Godzilla and King Kong. I was like, oh, that right there. I'm like, and I said to him, I don't really care whether the movie is good or bad. I grew up watching
Yes.
Godzilla and King Kong movies. And so
Right.
for me, it's very nostalgic. And I was trying to have a relaxing weekend. So that was, I don't know, that just immediately took me way back to childhood when me and my cousins used to watch um Godzilla and King Kong and all of the characters. Now back then they didn't refer to them as titans, but now they call them titan monsters or whatever. But we used to just love watching those movies and and the karate film flicks. Back then we called them kung fu movies, but all of the karate movies with all of the horrible, super delayed dubbing. Ugh. But that used to be my weekends when I would.
Hiya!
Yes,
Ah!
exactly. Those were my weekends when I would go visit my grandmother and my cousins in the Bronx. Like literally, that was what we would do, is to watch these movies. But anyway, that being said, did we lost? Okay, Desi just fell off the face of the earth. Um, I went to see
She took that green room comment pretty serious.
Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire. It was very, very interesting. The one thing that I was most happy about, and I'm not gonna like really say thumbs up or thumbs down or whatever. It's one of those things where like for me, I'm into it, so I went and saw it, and I wasn't expecting for it to be good, bad, or whatever. But the thing that made me
Right.
happy about it is, they brought out the Titan Mothra. And I remember as a kid, that was one of the many monsters that that I got a kick out of, because if I remember correctly, I don't remember if it was they had these little twin girls, or there was like a girl that Mothra connected with, and they did that same thing in this movie where they had Mothra connected to this girl, and Mothra helps to save the world. But again, I'm not trying to tell anybody go see it because it's great. I'm just saying, if you're a fan of Godzilla and King Kong, go see it. It's entertaining. Whoever is doing the movie now, they've created this storyline, and they basically have invested in the storyline. So this story continues from where the last story left off. So I did sort of appreciate that as well. So that's what I'm gonna say. Oh, okay. Like 50 million previews before the movie. So I saw the Bad Boy preview, but the other preview, it literally just went out my head. There was another preview that caught my attention. Oh my God, getting old. Literally, while I was talking, I was remembering the preview, and now I have forgotten what it was. But there was another preview.
Fast and the Furious?
No. There was another preview that they mentioned, and I swear to God, there must have been 6 or 7 previews. But there was one other one that
Was it
caught my
Beetlejuice?
attention. What was that?
Beetlejuice?
They did run that one, but it wasn't that. Like, I knew Beetlejuice was coming out because we talked about that one, but it was another one. I don't know. I'll figure it out. What you got, Kari? While we wait for Desiree to come back.
So what happened was, um, I did not write down. Actually, I haven't really watched a lot of TV this week. I caught up on BMF, and if I did, I don't remember. I've just been, which is odd because I have been in the house because it's been raining for several
Mm,
days. And
yeah.
so you would think that I had plenty of time to. Honestly, I'm going to be like 1000% honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
I've been doing a little bit of research on this eclipse situation because I couldn't understand why it was
Mm.
such a big deal.
Yeah.
Apparently, there's several several areas in the country that are literally shutting down and are telling you to get 3 days worth of food and water and fuel. And my mom, who lives in Oklahoma, who happens to be on the path of this eclipse that they're saying, I was, she's asking, well, why is all this necessary? Why is
Right.
there a big hoopla? And I couldn't answer that question. So I did some research. Come to find out, the eclipse is going to cause the moon or whatever it is going to completely block the sun in the middle of the day, which is going to cause a blackout in this line, which goes through Oklahoma. I think there's parts of Texas,
Oh, it's a lot.
Ohio,
It's a
um,
lot of
New
places.
York, Pennsylvania. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
essentially, um,
it's kind of like a line,
a
and
pathway.
yeah,
Yeah.
and so there's a whole cluster of places that are going to get the total eclipse. Because I checked this website, where I'm at is a partial eclipse. I won't get the total eclipse, but and I, you know, and I think you just mentioned about the whole moon thing. So there are like multiple layers happening, and this, if you don't know, it's scheduled for Monday, um, April 8th, and
March 8th. I mean,
sorry,
April 8th.
April 8th. Now, my son mentioned it to me, and here's why I started looking into it, because he was telling me that the that people are saying that that's the day that the world will end, and that there was some correlation to things that are going to happen that day that line up to one of those movies, streaming movies. Ooh, I forgot which one he said, but and I, you know, and I had to
I think it's
quickly.
the one with Julia Roberts.
Okay, yes, that's the one. That's the one. And so I had to quickly remind him. I'm like, okay, I'm first and foremost. That's what they said about 2000, going from 1999 to 2000. We
Right.
survived.
I was just about to say they said that about Y2K.
Yep, we survived. I said, but more importantly, since you are a child who went to church, the Bible says nobody knows the day nor the hour when the Son of Man will return. So that being said, there is no like, you can't put your finger on it. How, if you are a conspiracy theorist, if you have ever heard, listened, read any of these doomsday um theorists, there have been multiple last days. Multiple last days. So I ain't scared.
Every other day, it's the last day.
Yeah. Now, the one thing I will say, and it's going to cause me to do a little bit of research, because I'm supposed to fly home on Monday, but I'm flying home ahead of the eclipse. But I am fascinated by the effects of it, the solar magnetic effects.
Well, the reason why, because when I was telling my mom, because she's like, they, giving her the day off of work, they're not going into the building and all this other stuff, and
Wow.
apparently a lot the power grid is supposed to be affected or could potentially be affected, and that's because a lot of our power is generated through solar power.
Mm-hmm.
And uh, I don't, for me, I don't have the energy to go into the conspiracies. Like, if that's the case, then I would be buying all this stuff for doomsday. And I just personally am like, I'm just taking one day at a time. Whatever happens, happens. But to kind of change the subject a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
I have been watching this thing called Squad on TikTok.
Squatter
And
squad.
it's really Squatter Squad. So, in the United States, many places they have squatters' rights.
Yep.
And there is a huge influx of people who are without affordable housing. And so they are waiting for people to go on vacation, or unoccupied homes that are under construction or for sale, or
Mm-hmm.
even just abandoned properties. And they're going in and squatting.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of them are like, we just left for the weekend to go camping, and we come back and these people are in the house and won't let us enter. And then when they call the police are like, well, they're in the house. They've got squatters' rights. So I am going to come up with an episode, some tips. So make sure you guys tune into our next week's episode, because I'm going to have some tips. I did learn a couple of things, but I came up with some ideas of my own. But if you guys are interested, go watch Squatter Squad on TikTok. But we're going to talk about ways that you can protect yourself and how to hopefully avoid having squatters in your property. Because now it's like, do you even want to go on vacation anywhere? It's crazy.
Yeah, and it's interesting because the so in my day job, I come across business entities that build and rent homes. And I found out that there is this one specific company, and I don't know if there are others around the country, but this one specific company I learned, has been suffering from having squatters in the home. And they have been getting hit left, right, and center because they never turn off the utilities. So the electric and the water are always left on. So if I rent the property, I move out and Kari moves in, and let's say there's a month between me and Kari, the utilities never get turned off. So the minute folks found this out, they were going into the homes and basically setting up camp because the rentals turn over so fast. Nobody's going to notice. They're not going to question the people moving in with the U-Haul and their furniture and the la 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 la. What makes it difficult to remove the squatters is the minute I start getting mail and things in my name to the property, it now appears like I live in this property, and that escalates my ownership of the property. And I'm not saying literally like you own it, but that's the point in which like law enforcement is like, yeah, you're going to have to take this to court. We can't just, kick them out, cuz even with an eviction has to be signed off by a judge. So squatters have to be removed by a judge, but they still have to go through the process, the steps. And honey, I've seen a lot of rental companies, get themselves in trouble with their homeowner association because the squatter isn't taking care of the property, and violations and fines are building and building and building. And the owners are like, I got squatters. And I'm like, I'm gonna need you to give me papers on that. And once the squatters leave, then we can negotiate these fines. But it's taking some of these places months, because I also found out a lot of local courthouses, in smaller areas, they are still behind because of COVID. So it may take them 6, 7, 8, 9 months to get the squatter out because they can't get into the courts to get the paperwork done. I'm glad you brought that up because I wrote that down. It's a serious, serious, serious thing. You today can see your neighbor move out the house, and tomorrow see a new neighbor move in, think nothing of it, and the next thing you know, you find out they're squatters. It's happening everywhere.
The sad thing is I have a friend that lives in Canada, and she's like, out there, if anybody that's not on your lease is considered a visitor. They don't care how long they've been there. They don't care how much mail they've gotten. They don't care if they've done repairs on the property. If they're not on the lease, they are considered a visitor, and at any time you can have them removed from the property, which I'm like, that's how it should be.
Right.
I don't understand how in America it just doesn't make any sense to me. So
It's our laws, because like I way 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 back, and you probably could attest to this, Kari. Nobody cared who actually was living in the apartment. It was more relevant who was signing their name to the lease. So if I signed my name to the lease and I brought 6 other people with me, nobody really seemed to care.